Hello everyone, welcome back to my Flosstube channel, which is a channel all about cross stitch. My name is Rosanna and you can find me here and over on Instagram as brightanddusty. This is Flosstube number 25. It's been over a month since I've done one of these, so I have a lot to share today. Thank you to anyone who watched my flip through video from, I think that was maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. I showed a really wide variety of stuff, so check that out if you enjoy seeing vintage patterns. So I guess I'll just dive right in. I have 2 FFOs and it has been over a month, so I have like more whips than usual, I would say. But all right, so the first FFO I have, they're both pillows. And here's one. So this is Spring Chickens Pinkeep by Stacy Nash. I had finished this back in the spring and then I just never got around to FFOing it. But I did take a day where I made a couple pillows and this was one of them. It turned out beautifully. I just used the red gingham on the back. The original pattern does have another border, a big floral border, which I decided not to do, and I'm really happy with that decision. And I used a DMC conversion for this piece. The fabric is 40 count Ancient by Picture This Plus. So that is so adorable. I have a couple other Stacy Nash patterns in my stash. I have 2 animal crackers that I need to stitch, and then I have like a Christmas one that I got at the Jingle Ball. So yeah, I do really love her style. I know a lot of people do, but my second FFO is Girl with Ducklings by Riolis. So in my other videos I've explained, you know, I only did a portion of this kit and I'm happy with how it turned out. And then on the back, I had this really cute, I don't know if this is Debbie Mum fabric, maybe, something like that. But I just cut out the part with the birdhouses and used that on the back. Yeah, the last time you saw this, I was kind of complaining that, you know, I was tired of working on this, and I don't think I had done any of the backstitching. There is some backstitching even in this little portion. But I finally just took a couple nights and got it finished. And now I can enjoy it on my pillow shelf. For both of these, I just used polyfill this time. Sometimes I will put in the crushed walnut shells on the bottom. But lately, I don't really think that they need that a lot of the time. So I just use polyfill and I'm happy with them. All right. So those were my FFOs. Now I can get into whips. So I did make some more progress on Christmas Elegance because the last time I filmed a video, I don't think Christmas in July was even quite over yet. So I did make a little bit more progress on this. I don't know if I have a before picture. If I do, I'll put it in. But here is where I ended up with this for Christmas in July. And she is looking amazing. This is a really fun one for me to work on, and I do think, I'm thinking I'm maybe gonna make this a focus starting in like November, you know, when we're getting closer to Christmas season. Because she's beautiful. That's a 32 count Lugana. All right, the Gather In by Plum Street Samplers. I am in the middle of just, you know, fill in, endless fill in, which is what I've been doing when I'm watching TV with Andrew. So it's very convenient just to have, you know, one project where there's a ton of fill in. But I made a lot of progress. I filled in that entire roof, and then that area with the horse, I got that completely filled in. The other thing is that I'm stitching this in hand using the sewing method, and I do think the fabric is getting a little bit warped, probably because it's very dense stitching. Like, the house is full coverage, so like I think I am warping the fabric a little bit. I think when I frame it and stretch it out, it's gonna look beautiful. But I have noticed that with the stitching in hand, I don't know, there are areas where it's kind of puckering a little bit. So it looks beautiful though. This is an 18 count Aida Rustico. I love that fabric. It's working out very nice. So if all goes well, you know, I will have the house completely filled in within the next, you know, month if I work on it consistently when we're watching TV. And then I think I will be motivated to just, you know, get the rest of it done. And I don't think I'm gonna stitch all that grass. I'm gonna make some changes. Okay, why don't I show the Extraordinary Birds? This stitch along. I'm filming this video on Friday, and the very last installment is coming out today. So we have one more installment, and then it's going to be done. And I am caught up. I do need to backstitch my parrot, but other than that, I'm caught up. And I am motivated to get this finished. I mean, hopefully I can just finish it this weekend. It's a long weekend, so I might just try to get it done. The last installment is going to be a very large bird in here. I saw the teaser on Instagram. So yeah, it's probably going to be kind of similar to what we did over here, which is a lot of stitching, but I am really motivated to get this finished. I do not want, I don't want it to just like linger into the fall. Yeah, I love this project. It's been a lot of fun. I am ready for it to be over and ready to focus on other things. But yeah, it turned out really beautiful. Yeah, we even got some hummingbirds up there in that flower area. I was really excited about that. So yeah, 32 count linen that I dye myself. Okay, so well, while we're on the topic of hummingbirds, I'll just show my garden hummingbird by Bucilla. I worked on this for the Wipintoshape challenge created by the Runner Stitcher. I'll put in a photo of where I was at the beginning of the challenge. So that was back in May. And here is where I got to over the course of, I guess, 3 months. I'm not totally sure the exact timeline. I forget when we started it. I think it was like mid-May, but here is where I ended up. So I did the hummingbird. I think you can see a little bit of the sparkle. Pretty much the entire hummingbird was stitched with blending filament to give it a lot of sparkle. It looks very beautiful. And yeah, luckily this fabric that I picked is very forgiving. I want to say it's a Jobelin, and I want to say it's like kind of a little stretchy almost. So like I could imagine using that much blending filament on like a stiff Aida or something like that would have been nightmarish, but on the Jobelin it really wasn't that bad. I mean, it's always a little bit annoying to work with, you know, sparkly thread, but all in all it could have been worse, and I'm happy that that part is done. I don't think there's a lot of blending filament elsewhere in this pattern. Like there wasn't any in the flowers, so I think I might pretty much be done with that. But yeah, I don't think I quite got up to like the 5,000 stitch mark, because I believe that's around where we ended up with Andrew's running around like 5,000 stitches. I don't think I quite made it that much, but I'm really happy with what I was able to accomplish, especially considering that there are so many quarter stitches in this. You know, with all those quarter stitches, I don't know, maybe I was closer to the goal than I thought, but Andrew is extending the challenge to I think until November, because that's when he's running the New York, or wait, yeah, the New York City Marathon, I think. I don't remember, but he did explain that he's extending the challenge for anyone who wants to participate. So I might be pulling out the garden hummingbird again. We shall see. Right now, I am really deep in the throes of like gearing up for fall. All I want to do is stitch Halloween right now. So I'm taking a break from the hummingbird, but I may come back to it in a few weeks. Okay, so that was garden hummingbird. Let's see. Okay, Stitch for Pride 2025. I'm behind, but I made some good progress in the last like week or so. So this is designed by D's 20 Stitches on YouTube and Instagram. And it comes out in monthly installments. The new one that I finished is that the orange star shape there. That is the symbol of Chevalier d'Eon, who, you know, lived during the 18th century, kind of split their time between England and France. and worked as a spy. It was very interesting to learn about this person. And I always love learning about like early modern French history, like the 17th and 18th centuries in France. If you were part of the aristocracy, it just seemed like a very interesting time to be alive. You know, before things went crazy with the French Revolution. So it was really cool learning about that. And I chose a variegated DMC for that star. Here, why don't I fold the fabric and you can see it a little better. Yeah, it's DMC 69. A while back, I found a really giant stash of variegated DMC. Like, I have a lot. I know that some of them have been discontinued and some of them are still around. I don't know officially if this one's still around, maybe, but it was DMC 69. And then I did get a start. This was just last night. I did get a start on, I think this is June's release, I think. It's in the shape of a hair comb. It's really pretty. And I picked like a variegated JP Coates in like a rainbow color pastel. Because I just thought that was really, really pretty for a hair comb. So I want to finish that one, you know, before my next video. But this has been a lot of fun. It's beautiful. The other thing is, I am discovering that I love Navy Aida. This is 18 count Navy Aida. The colors show up so nice on it. It's really easy to stitch on. I'm using one strand. So I think I will be using a lot of Navy Aida in the future. I also have a lot of it. So it's just convenient when you need like a really dark background. Okay. That was that. Okay, the last two whips are Halloween. I have really, really been in the mood for Halloween. I think it's just because this summer was so hot. And here in upstate New York, within the past week and a half, we have had some nights where it's just really cool. It feels like fall. Andrew and I could like go for a walk and just really enjoy the outdoors and not, you know, just be like panicked from how hot it is. So yeah, I've just been like wanting to stitch Halloween. So one of the ones I pulled out is a small. It is from this Halloween edition of Just Cross Stitch. So this was 2024. And the one I'm doing is Toil and Trouble. I'm changing a lot of the colors on this. But here is where I got to. So my witch is starting to take shape. Honestly, I could just fill in that moon. That's another area that I can just work on some fill in. Got that cat outlined. And this is a linen napkin I dye myself. It's probably around a 38 count. I'm using 2 strands. No, I'm using 1 strand, sorry. I'm using 1 strand. But yeah, it's not huge. And I kind of want to get it out of my whips so I have an excuse to start another Halloween pattern. So yeah, I'm throwing around the idea of maybe just digging in and working on that for like a week and getting it done. All right, the next one is Trick or Treat Town by Flossabilities. I had a really small start on this. Basically, I just had like the lamppost in the one corner done, but I worked on it for a few nights and I made some progress. So that's where I got to. Yeah, you can like see through my fabric, but you get the idea. So I pretty much got that house outlined, and I'm planning to finish the house and then move on to the next house and then move on to the next house. Because that seems like a manageable way for my brain to organize this project. But I love this pattern. It's so cute. I can't wait to see what it looks like when it's finished. This is a piece of a linen tablecloth I dyed myself. And on this one I am using 2 strands. The linen is pretty stretchy, so yeah, 2 strands is working out. So I'm loving that one. And then I think that was the end of my whips. So I have 2 new starts. The first one is Nature Book by MamaWitchXStitch. I started this for the Mothalong, which I'm hosting with Jacinta from Crafting on the Plains. That's been a lot of fun. We did have a lot of people join in on Instagram. I think we've even had maybe 3 or 4 finishes that people have posted, which is awesome. It's been really fun to see all those. I am nowhere near being finished. But this is the one that the new start that I did for that stitch along. So I'll show you where I got to. So that's a pretty good start. And I changed a little bit of the purples in the thistle because like I didn't have all of the called for, but I just picked things that were pretty close. I like the way it looks. This is a 14 count Black Ada. So yeah, if you would like to join in with the Mothalong, please feel free. I'm planning to work on mine all through September. I have another one, Owl Forest Embroidery Light Sampler with a lot of moths. That one I would like to make progress on too. I haven't pulled that one out yet, but it isn't quite September, so I'm giving myself a little bit of leeway to finish Extraordinary Birds, and then regroup. But, yep, this is for the Mothalong. Yep, if you join, feel free to tag me, Bright and Dusty on Instagram, and Jacinta, Crafting on the Plains. For my other new start, I'm just gonna insert a brief clip explaining it. It's only a couple minutes, so I'll see you on the other side. I wanted to insert a short little clip about this new start because it's a little bit hard to explain and it's going to be easier if you can see everything that I'm talking about. So this book is Flowers, Birds, and Unicorns, Medieval Needlepoint by Candace Bahouth, and it was published in 1993. I found this thrifting maybe a month ago, and it has a lot of really neat needlepoint projects in here. The one that I'm gonna start is this unicorn. So very tapestry-like. I'm doing it as cross stitch, not as a needlepoint. And yeah, over here, the little blurb about it, the author says, I chose the body for my unicorn and the positioning of his legs from a French miniature and the graceful turn of his head from an Italian drawing, and I studied the tapestries for his coloring. The curving oak leaves and the unicorn's spotted coat were drawn from early Swiss tapestries, in which the imaginary unicorn is spotted. So I just thought that was really interesting that the details in this unicorn were drawn from uh, all those different tapestries from medieval history. And I really want to stitch it. The problem is that this is a needlepoint book from 1993, so the color key is in wool, tapestry wool. I can show you over here. This is some kind of brand of tapestry wool. There is an alternative in parentheses. Neither of these are the DMC wool. However, in the back of the book, it has let me see if I can show you. Yeah, it has this like conversion chart where it does provide the DMC tapestry wool, and how you can convert it from these other ones that are listed in the projects. So that was kind of my starting point. I was looking up a lot of these tapestry wool colors. Many of them have been discontinued, so that wasn't, 100% helpful, but it was a place to start. And then I just worked on making my own DMC conversion. Um, so this is what I came up with. I might end up changing some of the colors as I go forward, just to see what I like and what's going to work for this design. You can see a glimpse of the pattern over here. I'm not going to show the whole thing, but I will show just like a close up of what it looks like. So it's not symbols, it's just colors. So this is going to be a challenge. This is going to be tough. But I like this unicorn so much that I think it is worth all this extra effort just to do it in cross stitch, just have fun with it. So that is what I plan to do. And I scan this into my iPad so I can mark off, uh, the places I've stitched and everything. And yeah, it is awkward because the colors in some cases are not very well differentiated from each other. Like these yellows, a lot of them look the same to me. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, um, that is the story about this unicorn. And I did get a very small start. Um, you can see I just started in the center and I picked an 18 count Ada in this deep burgundy. Here's the color palette I pulled. I picked a bunch of these sort of light colors because again, the yellows, I wasn't really sure what I liked. So I'm going to play around with it. But yeah, the rest of these, I think they're going to look really nice. And what's the other thing I was going to say? Oh, yeah, because the leaves, I'm going to stitch the leaves and the flowers, but you can see there's this black background here. That's stitched in the original needlepoint. But I picked the red Ada because I'm not going to stitch those black parts. And then the red will really show through. All right, so I think that's all I had to explain about this unicorn, and yeah, I think it'll be fun. All right, thanks for watching that little clip. Hopefully I will have some more progress on the unicorn and I can update you about how it's going and how that conversion is turning out. So I realized I wanted to show off my project bag. I made this last year, I think, but it's just so cool. This is what I'm keeping Flossabilities Trick or Treat Town in, and I don't know, I just wanted to show it off. But why don't I do my Save the Stitch? That was the end of my new starts. So I'll show my Save the Stitch. I only brought out one today. It's a pretty big one. This is a Dimensions kit. I think it might be called Southwest Charm. If that's wrong, I'll put it on the screen, but here it is. So this has really beautiful colors in it. I used to live on the West Coast, so I took a trip to Arizona. This really reminds me of that. But this is one I have found thrifting. I think this must have been a pretty popular kit because I have actually found 2 of these finished. I don't have the other one anymore. But yeah, it's pretty unusual for me to find 2 of the same design as a like finished stitch out in the world, but I have found 2 of these, which leads me to believe that this must have been a pretty popular kit once upon a time. Yeah. So it's very pretty. It is quite big. And of course, you know, in the 90s, I guess you framed everything with a giant mat. Make it even bigger. I have this idea. Like, I have a lot of thrifted cross stitch, whether they be big, whether they be small. I've collected a lot. And for some of them, I'm kind of thinking I want to make them into a quilt because I don't really know what to do with all of these. And I think it would be just really cool to have a large quilt that's just a mishmash of all different styles, all different designs, all different eras, and just, you know, do something with a lot of these thrifted stitches that I find loose. I mean, usually if they're framed and I like it, like I won't really take it out of the frame. But, you know, for some of them, like this one doesn't really go with my decor. I would maybe be inclined to take some of them out of the frames. We'll see. But otherwise, I don't really know what to do with a lot of these, and I would like to enjoy them. And I used to make quilts, so, you know, I know how to do it. It's not my favorite craft, but for a project like that, I might attempt it again. All right, so that was Save the Stitch. And now let me go over the giveaways. Let me grab them. Okay, so this first one was never claimed, so I went ahead and drew another name from that video. I mean, it was months ago, so I have no idea if this person that I drew would be watching, but like, it's this book, Cross Stitch Christmas, and the new winner is Mandy Youngblood 2502. For all of these winners, if you could just email me, brightanddusty@gmail.com. That email will also be down below. So you can give me your name and mailing address. I'm happy to ship these out to you. All right, and then from last video, there was the Joan Elliott leaflet. The winner is Sandra Adams, 2677. The winner of the Let's Believe kit is Hilltop Stitching. And then the winner of the Santa Remembered book is, just making sure I pulled the right one. I have so many of these books. Sheila Elder 5077. So that was all the winners. And yeah, just shoot me an email. I did pull a few things for a new giveaway. So the first one, I can send this anywhere. So this one is open internationally or US. This is just a cute little dog pattern. It says if you have a lab, but I feel like you could easily change that to if you have a dog. So yeah, it's just cute. Designs by Lisa. This is from 2014. So if you are interested in this, use the number 1, numeral 1 in your comment. The rest of these, I have 3 more. These are going to be US only. This is a Dimensions Petite. I Need Coffee Now full kit. If you're interested in that, use the number 2. I had an extra Just Cross Stitch magazine from spring 2025. This is a really recent issue. So if you're interested in this, please use the number 3. Number 3 in your comment. And the last one is Fabulous Felines by Cross My Heart. So a lot of cats. And if you're interested in that, use the number 4. And please be in the US for that one, for the magazine, and for the Dimensions kit. US only. Please be over the age of 18. Do not use any trigger words like win, giveaway, contest in your comments so we don't attract any bots. Okay, so that was the giveaway. I have a minimal amount of haul, and I have a little Stitchy Kindness. Let me show Stitchy Kindness. Yeah, there was a viewer who reached out and was like, I really love your flip through videos, and looking at the vintage patterns, is it okay if I send you something? So thank you so much for sending me this packet of patterns. They are really cool. I love this one with the scissors and the spools. Definitely plan to stitch this one. There's a Halloween one. This one's really neat because it comes with that ribbon. This is an Erica Michaels. I've heard this little poem before. I want to say it might be like Robert Burns or something. But yeah, it's kind of spooky. So that's really cool. So I won't show everything because she sent me like a lot, but I thought this was really neat. Fairies in Shoeland. And then there's this really funny kit. Not playing with a full duck. I feel like this most days of my life. So once again, thank you so much for this Stitchy Kindness. And then I have like just one other piece of haul, because again, usually I just save that stuff if I do a flip through, but I did get some threads. So this is StitchyStuff on Etsy. These are overdyed cottons, and you can buy them in 50 yards, so that's what I did. There's also an option for like, I think it might be 10, but I got the 50. Oops. Yeah, I got this one because I thought it would be really good for some kind of fall pattern. I don't have one in mind yet, but it was a beautiful color. And then for these two, I do have a plan. So for this very deep purple, I want to stitch Raven Bewitched by Blackbird Designs. I've had this pattern for a while, and I think I want to use this. So that'd be really cool. And then for this blue, I want to use that for the ocean in Ship of Life by the Needle Love Company. So that was really fun. Yeah, I don't buy a ton of overdyed floss. It's just like sometimes I'm in the mood for it. But those are beautiful, and it's nice that they're 50 yards. I mean, that's gonna last me a while. The only other piece of haul I wanted to bring up is a digital download. So this designer is based in Ukraine. I saw this on Instagram. I'll see if I can get if you can see it. Not very well. But anyway, it's a bee with a witch's hat and a cauldron in a crystal ball. I saw this on Instagram and I was just like, I have to figure out a way to buy that. Once again, the designer is in Ukraine. Their Instagram posts are not in English. I mean, you can hit the translate button, but you know, this is like a Ukrainian company. So I wasn't really sure how to go about getting this pattern. I did figure it out. They have a website. I'll see if I can link it down below, or I'll link their Instagram. Basically what I did was I went to their website, and to purchase one of their digital patterns, you add it to your cart, you like check out, you know, you submit the order without paying anything. And at that point, it like sends a notification to them, someone made an order, and then they reach out through email and tell you, okay, like this is what the pattern costs, and you can send the payment through PayPal. So I did it. I wasn't sure what was going to happen, but it was fine. It cost like $3.50 US dollars. I think it was something very reasonable, and I sent it through PayPal, and they sent me the pattern. And the pattern works in, I know it works in Cross Stitch Saga. I'm not really sure about Pattern Keeper. I didn't try it, but you get the PDF and you get the Saga file. So this is one I really want to get started in Halloween season. And I already have it kitted. I just have to pull a piece of fabric. This company also has beautiful kits, like ornament kits. They have a jellyfish that is just gorgeous. So, you know, I'm not going to try to buy one of their kits with the way international shipping is going right now. Maybe in the future. But I'm fine just kitting it myself, getting the digital pattern. So I had a good experience with that. And again, I will try to put like their information in the description box if you're curious. I think that's all I wanted to talk about with haul. Yeah, life update. This will be brief. I'm in the middle of kind of like cleaning out my house just because, you know, as someone who thrifts as much as I do, someone who runs a resale Etsy shop, I have accumulated so much clutter. It's unreal. So I've been working on that. Just cleaning in general. So at the end of the video, I'm gonna insert a craft room update because I did work really hard to get my craft room functional as a craft room. And I know that a lot of people might find that pretty boring, so like I'm just tacking it on at the end of the video because if you're not interested, you can just, you know, move on to your next floss tube. But for anyone who just, you know, wants to see me work on my craft room space, it's like 20 minutes. It wasn't really long enough for a separate video. And then I filmed it in 2 phases, like sort of the early stage and then after I had gotten it a little bit more organized. So, you know, stick around if you want to see that. Otherwise, life has been pretty normal. I did successfully run my half marathon in mid-August. However, it was an extremely hot day. It's the hottest race I've ever run. And in the middle of it, I was like, this was a terrible idea. Like, what am I doing to myself right now? I wasn't sure if I was gonna make it, and I was sort of like, well, maybe I should just walk it. Maybe I should walk the second half. It was really difficult, and I did walk a lot. Not the whole second half. I mean, I was able to kind of alternate running and walking until I reached the finish line. So I'm proud that I did it, and I'm surprised at my own resilience that I was able to pull it off. But it was, I think, the most difficult race I've ever been in. That being said, afterwards, I didn't get sick or anything, because that's a risk, you know, running in the heat with the dehydration. Like, there's a risk of getting sick or of getting like a throbbing headache, just like feeling horrible. Luckily, that didn't happen. I was able to have like a pretty normal day. Andrew and I went out for lunch to celebrate my finish of the half marathon. So I'm really grateful that my body didn't betray me and that I was kind of able to enjoy the rest of the day and my victory. So that was August, and like I said, now the weather is getting a lot cooler, which I'm very happy about, and I want to do all the fall stitching. And I know that Thistle and Thread is doing a Season of the WitchSAL for the month of September. So I am planning to either, you know, continue with Flossabilities Trick or Treat Town for that, or maybe I could start that bee, the witch bee in the crystal ball. So I think that's all the life updates I had. And now I will insert the, you know, the little craft room vlog. And yeah, otherwise I'm just gonna catch you next time. I might do a flip through. I'm not really sure. We'll see what happens. But in any case, I'll see you in about a month for my next video. All right, thanks for watching and happy stitching. Okay, so I decided to do a little bit of a craft room tour vlog because I am in the middle of reorganizing this room to a pretty dramatic degree. This is my craft room and it's not really functional, especially the way it was before. For instance, this little cot we have here wasn't in a different direction. It was like going up and down this way and it was kind of blocking off that closet. And this closet, honestly, it was full of junk. I have already emptied out the closet, so I've made really good progress. I know it doesn't really look like it, but I have. This desk, I put it against the wall here because that is just a much more efficient way to use that desk. This corner over here, you know, this corner isn't going to change, and it's very chaotic, but that's like stuff that I need for my Etsy shop, so you know that's just kind of going to stay the way it is. But my goal is to probably use this shelving unit here for my project bags for cross stitch, because right now they're in my bedroom and they're taking up a lot of space and they're in the way. So I think maybe I could put them on that shelf. This shelf previously was in the closet. So you can imagine that was not a very efficient use of space. I think it's going to be better out there. And then in here, I'm planning to put like my boxes of patterns and books for cross stitch. And maybe my kits. We'll see. Now that it's empty, I feel like there's a lot of possibilities. Yeah, the decor on the wall, I don't think I've showed this before. This is a interesting, like almost like an art quilt type of thing. I think it's machine embroidery, and they did the very like colorful fabrics for the background, the hill and the landscape. And then they cut out these appliques from a piece of fabric that had all these houses. And I found this at an antique mall, and I just had to have it. There's something about it that to me is just so cute and beautiful. Just very interesting, like very imaginative piece right there. These penguins, that's a print that I found at Goodwill. And honestly, I was cleaning this room and they have just been sitting here. They weren't hanging up. So I molded over. I was like, well, should I just donate them again? Since I've had them for a couple years and I never used them. But ultimately, I decided to hang them up just because I love penguins and they're really, really cute. So I didn't frame it. I just kind of tacked them to the wall, but that's okay for now. Yeah, there's this cord. I'm gonna have to go up into the attic and get rid of this cord because it's really annoying. There used to be a TV up there, not anymore. But I showed this in one of my videos. This is the Chickadees and Lilacs by Dimensions. I had found this at a thrift store a while back. Sorry for the glare. I think I showed this in a video too a long time ago, but this is a very old silk embroidery that I love it. You know, this is a very, very interesting embroidery to me because it's so old, and I just, you know, I wonder how hard it would be to chart something like this. I've never done that before, but it's always kind of in the back of my mind, like, could I chart it and could I try to stitch it as a cross stitch? These two little quilts, I made these years ago, and when we moved in here, those nails were already in the wall, so I just stuck them there. But they're not spaced out very well. They look pretty awkward, so I think I might reposition them somewhere a little bit more attractive, you know, because I did work hard on them. So they deserve to be shown off a little better than that. Once I get this room more organized and cleaned up, I'll show you this quilt. I didn't make this one. This was made by some kind of quilting guild in Pennsylvania. It was raffled off. Yeah, a family friend of ours had won it, and then they knew that I really liked quilts, so they gave it to us. Now I have it. This is my DMC storage. So they're just in bags based on categories of numbers. So this whole box is full of DMC. There's also these binders full of bobbins. And then like some more DMC in that shoebox down there. So, you know, I know that a lot of people would be very horrified by this system because it is very chaotic, but it works for me well enough. I don't think I'm gonna change what I'm doing, at least not at the moment. I have a lot of other things to organize before I worry about that, honestly. So yeah, when I'm kitting a project, I just kind of come in here and go through all these bags. And usually I have most of them. You know, sometimes I have to go to Michael's and get a few, but like usually I have most of them. And then up here, I know I showed that one in a video before. That Bucilla kit. It's really pretty. This is not a cross stitch. This is a print. I just like it because, you know, the flowers are in the night sky. It's like, it's very interesting. And then there is just a wedding photo of me and my immediate family from back in 2022. And yeah, this desk needs to be cleaned up. Honestly, it's looking better than it did. Everything in this room is looking better than it did. That is a piece of audio equipment that belongs to my husband. He loaned it to me because I am in the middle of recording an audiobook. If I ever manage to finish it, it will be a miracle. But I just wanted to quickly show my collection of shaker boxes. So I have been lucky enough to find some of these over the past year or so. There's actually nested boxes in here. I think there's like 2 more in there. This one just has a plain wood finish. They didn't stain it at all. And then there's some like larger ones. These are also nested. So there's 2 others. I found this pin cushion. And I don't think it would be too hard to take the cushion part out, and then I could stitch something to put in this wooden base. So that's my plan. But yeah, I have just been picking these up as I find them. And they crop up every now and then at antique stores and stuff. But anyway, thank you if you listen to my little description of my craft room. And then I might make a little update once I get some more progress. All right. Here I am for part 2 of my craft room vlog. I have made a lot of progress over the last week or so. You can see this is looking a lot tidier. The main thing I did was I set up this shelf with all of my project bags. And then you can see I've got my lap hoop stands there. And then on the bottom shelf is mostly kitted projects that haven't really been started yet. So some of my whips are in project bags that I made, mostly these. And then some are just kind of in random bags and folders. But they all fit on here okay, so I am really happy with this. That got them out of my bedroom where they were cluttering things up. This closet, these boxes are full of patterns, magazines, and cross-stitch books. They are decently organized. I'm okay with the system I have going right now. Eventually, I might try to consolidate the ones that are in the plastic bin into another one of these cardboard ones, but for right now, this is okay. That bag has specialty thread in it, like metallics, some overdyed, and just random stuff. Usually, if I need a metallic or something like that, I dig through that bag until I find something that is going to work. Shelf up there is just kind of random hodgepodge of stuff. So I am happy to say I got rid of that cord. I went up into the attic and pulled it up, so now it's not an eyesore in here anymore. And my desk is definitely looking better. One thing is I don't know what I'm going to do with these prints, these forest prints. I had bought these a really long time ago. I think the artist is Meadow and Fawn on Instagram. And I love them, but I'm not really sure what to do with them. I might try to find a frame where I could just frame them all together. But they are gorgeous. And I've got my laptop. This is a pattern I found last weekend at a craft market. It's from 1995. It's called Moon Maiden by Delator Designs. I have it out here because I'm thinking I would like to kit this project. There are a ton of metallic threads in this. Well, they might all be the same color. I think they're gold or something like that, but it's just a lot of blends and a lot of metallics. So that's going to be tricky. Here's a better look at this quilt now that I've cleaned off this cot. Yeah, this quilt is so well made. I mean, this was made by a quilting guild, so they knew what they were doing. I love that corn applique, but the corn is like individually quilted squares. It's really intricate. And then there's a sunflower. But very, very beautiful quilt. I haven't moved my mini quilts yet. What I'm thinking is I have this. This is a crewel embroidery that was in a terrible frame with a lot of water damage on the back of the frame and the cardboard. So I ripped it apart. I took out the embroidery. I cut off maybe 2 inches off of the edges on all sides. Because you can see there's even like a little bit of damage down in that corner. You can see it. But it was even worse before I cut off the edge. But what I would like to do is turn this into a banner. So attach some interfacing and then a backing fabric. Turn it into a banner that I can hang from a dowel rod. And then I was thinking I could put this in the middle of the mini quilts, maybe on this wall or something, and spread them out a little better. So that is going to be one project I would like to tackle pretty soon so I can get this room completely to my satisfaction. The thing about cleaning out this room was that I found a lot of thrifted cross-stitch, whether they were in frames or whether they were loose, and eventually I will have to find something to do with them. I'm thinking of maybe making a cross-stitch quilt out of some of my loose thrifted cross-stitches. But that is going to be a task for for future me. These ones, these are still in the frames, but I'm going to take them out, and I think I might make them into a project bag and then use the frames for myself, because they are nice frames. I think they were custom done, so they're really nice. And yeah, believe it or not, I found these separately. I found them at 2 different thrift stores. So they're not stitched by the same person, but they are clearly from the same series of kits, which I believe were just souvenir kits sold in Alaska. So I would like to make those into a project bag. They're just kind of sitting here right now. So maybe that could be my next project after I do that embroidery banner, is to turn these into a project bag. All right. So I am pretty happy with how my craft room turned out. And now this is going to be a much more functional space for me to put all of my stitching materials. I haven't moved my kits in here yet, but I might. I might just put them on top of these boxes. Anyway, thank you for tuning in.